This electrocardiography is very promising field in the field of medicine, because the overall function of function as well as the dynamism which is present in the heart structure and the function can be monitored in the form of electrical impulse. And as we know that electrical impulse means there are some electric charges which is flowing from one direction to another direction, and due to the movement of the muscles we can plot a graph, right? So it is a actually electrocardiography is a machine which is also called, there is one more term called EKG, or you can say ECG. It's the same thing. So what this is a machine, and the main function of this machine is to record the electrical activity of the heart, how it is functioning electrically, right? There are some biological function also which is going inside due to influx and outflux of substances which is creating an impulse due to the potential difference. We know that all membrane have a potential difference, right? Like in neuron cells there is a term called resting potential. In a same way, all all cells have some potential on the membrane. If that potential is going to get measured, you can find out whether the cell is working or not, what is the normal physiology going on inside. So that can be predicted. So with the help of ECG, doctor can predict how your heart muscles are working, whether is there any defect, whether is valves are working or not. Everything can be checked. So let's discuss about this. So this is a machine. First of all, you can say it is the machine used to record the electrical activity. Electrical activity of a heart. So if we can find out the how electrically it is working, we can find out what is the problem in the heart. So when this electrical activity is plotted on a graph, that's called electrocardiogram. Okay. So the next statement will talk about electrocardiogram. So electrocardiogram is a graphical representation of activity of heart during the period of time when electrodes are placed on the body. Okay, so from that point onwards the electrical activity is being start monitoring, and as it is being monitored it is represented on the graph, right? So we'll show you the graph during a period of time using electrode placed on skin. First of all, let me show you how the graph look like. So this is the graph. You can see these are the normal graph of EC of the patient can be recorded like this. Let me copy this particular graph and paste it here. So this is the graph. which I'm talking about here in the second statement. So if you will see, there is a pattern like this one. This particular pattern is being repeated everywhere, here also, here also, here also, here also, right? See, here also, here also, this side. So many places you will find that this particular typical graph, okay, is being represented many times, right? So in detail, we are going to see this particular graph, how it look like, and what are the uh, findings of these graphs. So first of all, let's try to talk about what is electrodes are doing, right? So these electrodes detects the electrical changes which is going in the body. So you can say that these electrodes detect the electrical changes that arises from heart muscles, right? Heart muscles during depolarization and repolarization. Now there is a three terms here. Let me clarify that term. First is polarization. Second is depolarization. And the third is repolarization. Right? So all these three processes, polarization, depolarization, and the repolarization, keep on going in a sequential order. So when we say polarized, the meaning is, suppose this is the membrane, okay, this is the membrane line. Polarized means like here also there is a membrane. So let me tell you what is the polarized mean. If suppose charge are separated like this, all positive charges are outside, right, and negative charge are inside. This stage is called polarized state. Polar charge are separated by the membrane. When we say depolarized, right, so suppose depolarized means suppose impulse has been generated, right? So you can see there is a change in the region. So this particular site, this one, the second, this stage is called depolarized state, where the electric potential has been changed. And when we say repolarized, the meaning is this charge is going to move like this in a circuit manner, like this will positive will attract the negative, and here also positive will attract the negative. So what will happen? It will get changed. So this become positive, this become negative, and the next membrane become depolarized again, right? So let me write, this is repolarized state, which I'm circling. And now this particular stage, the next one, now this is called depolarized, right? So this process is keep on going, polarization, depolarization, and then repolarization. Okay, any doubt in the concepts of polarization, depolarization, and repolarization? Okay, so let's move to the next. Next is who has discovered this ECG? So you can say ECG was discovered by Antoine. Right? But when you will talk about who has recorded the first ECG, that credit goes to Valor. So you can say first ECG was recorded by Valor. So Valor is the scientist who has first uh, recorded the um, graph of the heart muscles, working of the heart muscle. Right? So these are the two scientists' names you must know who has formed that. Next. Next is lead from the electrocardiograph are attached to arms. Like there are some electrodes where it is placed. It is placed in arms, legs, chest, and the signals and the flow of the blood, flow of the impulse of the blood vessels is recorded. So you can say that leads from an electrocardiogram are attached to arms, leg, and chest. So these are the three places in your body where the leads are attached. And what these leads do, they take the impulse and record it on a paper. So you can say that leads reads signals and record it on a paper. So this is how the lead takes the impulse from the heart and record it on a piece of a paper which look like this as I've shown you on the top, right? Next is ECG can be taken in lying down position because body should be in the rest, complete rest. Then only you can easily find out the signals, and also you can find out the proper functioning of the heart when body is not doing any physical activity. So you can say that ECG can be taken in lying down, lying down position known as resting ECG. Sometime if any patient is going for cardiac monitoring, they checks the resting ECG and exercised ECG. Means when body is doing some work, at that time ECG is checked, right? So you can say resting ECG and during exercise, known as stress ECG. So there is a two type of ECG done. First is the resting ECG, and second is stress ECG, where body is doing some function, and then the graph is plotted. So normally, if you will see the graph, so let's see the typical ECG looks. How ECG typically look like. So let's see ECG graph, or simply ECG. And let me put one picture here. Then I will discuss about it, what it is and what they are doing. This one. Let's see this. This is the graph. Typical graph. I have taken one. If you remember in the previous graph, I have shown you there are multiple patterns, similar kind of patterns are there. So that pattern I have taken out, and this is the typical ECG, how it look like. So let's start with each point. So there are some points here on the graph. First is P, Q, and then R, S, and then T. So there are total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sequential order which is mentioned in an alphabet P, Q, R, S, T. So let's see what is happening in the all these stages. So let's start with P. So in the P wave, if you'll see the P wave is going slightly up, that means depolarization of the upper chamber has been done, right? So you can say P wave represent depolarization of atria, or you can say auricle. That means impulse of contraction is generated by SA node. That's the meaning. So you can say that impulse of contraction is generated by SA node. So this has been done. So what will happen? Result is auricle will contract, right? So auricle resulting in contraction. That means contraction systole, right? Of both atria. So upper chambers is now going to contract. That is being represented by the P point. Now let's talk about what this PQ interval, this one starting from P to Q. What is PQ interval? So you can say PQ interval. The duration of PQ interval is around 0.1 second. So you can write 0.1 second. So during this time, during PQ interval, atria are contracting. You can say atrial contraction is going on during P to Q part. Next point is QRS. This one starting from Q, then R peak, and then S. This one PQRS complex. This complex shows depolarization of the lower part. Okay, you can say represent depolarization of ventricles. The lower part is going to contract, right? That means spread of impulse to the lower part. Impulse has been generated to the lower part. Spread of impulse to ventricles. So during QRS, this is happening. Now let's talk about RS and ST. RS and ST. These are the two steps. ST is this one, ST segment, and RS is this one, R and then S. It's going down. What is happening at this particular stage? So during RS and ST, which is completes in 0.3 second, and during this, one ventricles are contracting. Ventricle contract. So when ventricles are contracting, blood is moving with high pressure. That's why the R peak is highest here. You can see this particular. So there's a maximum contraction. That's why the blood is coming out from the heart. Next is T wave, this one. So let's talk about P, R, and T. Or let's discuss with T wave first. Okay, because the T wave suggests that now membrane is repolarizing. Right? So you can say after contraction, the ventricles are getting repolarized. That's why the graph is slightly going up. So you can say here T wave represent repolarization. Repolarization of ventricles. So ventricles are now relaxing. I mean, relaxing means the membrane potential has been reestablished. Now they are come back to the normal. Right? And now let's talk about what is PRT. What is PRT separately? So all these waves, P wave, R wave, T wave, are positive wave. Positive wave because they are on the top, right? P is also on the positive side, R is also on the positive side, T is also on the positive side. That's why it is called positive wave. And Q, S are negative wave because they are going down the graph. Right? T also represents that the lower chamber, that means ventricle, is getting uh, systole. That means systole part is end. Now they are going to get relaxed. So you can say that end of T, right? End of T means this particular part, this one. End of T represent end of systole. Now the contraction has been done. And now slowly it's going to relax. And the Q represents start of systole. So this P is actually what P is. P is the depolarization of auricles, right? Now slowly it becomes normal, then again goes down. That means blood is going to the uh, the lower part is now going to get contract. As they are contracting, blood from the left side going to the lungs, and from the right side, from the right side it's going to lungs, and from the left side going to aorta. And then it relaxed, and then again come back to normal, and the membrane get depolarized again, and systole is done. So this is overall the graph and the meaning what is happening in the ECG. You can see this. Right? Any question?